This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. So a 30-meter or 100-foot passenger vessel has grounded in Lahaina in Maui, which is in Hawaii. Now, according to the DLNR, the ferry broke free from its moorings further offshore last Thursday morning. Unbelievable that it's happened again, right? David Jung, the operator of the Maui Princess, which is the vessel that ran aground, said it was a simple accident after a parts failure. Didn't go into what parts failure, but he added that he and his crew members had taken the necessary precautions to avoid such a mishap. Well, clearly not, right? Because it happened. Luckily for the residents of Maui, the owner of this particular vessel, this ferry, said that the boat is fully insured and was recently inspected. And the owner said he's working with the Coast Guard to remove the vessel. Now, the DLNR, the Department of Land and Natural Resources, yesterday on the 20th of May, they reported that defueling of the ferry had begun. If I ran aground in Maui, I'd be very concerned when they start to defuel my vessel, because we've seen what's happened to the last vessels that have been defueled this way. They've dragged them out and let them sink. Anyway, work began to remove 2,500 gallons of fuel, batteries, hazardous materials and other items off the Maui Princess, and that's expected to take a few more days. Now, after everything is removed, a salvage contractor will begin the work to try and move the 100-foot long, as we mentioned, 30-meter passenger vessel back into deeper water. Now, hopefully there's no damage to the hull, and that way it will just be refloated. Now, David Willoughby of Willoughby Consulting and Adjusting is leading the defueling effort. He says he believes it will take the helicopter 9 to 10 trips to remove most of the fuel. He said, compared to some other groundings I've been involved with whilst in the US Coast Guard and while owning my own company, this one is relatively easy, he said. Now, the boat is hard aground on what appears to be a shallow shelf of sand and rubble. Now, DLNR Division of Aquatic Resources, which is a subdivision, the DAR, is providing expertise and guidance for the removal operation to minimize any additional impacts to important harb, substrate and living corals in the area. High surf continues along the West Maui coastline, and that has made it unsafe for aquatic biologists to get in the water to assess any possible damage to marine habitats. We'll keep you updated as to the progress of that refloating. Well, we'll move on to our next story. The MV Dali, the container ship, has been refloated in the Patapsco River in Baltimore. The ship, which is almost 1,000 feet long or 300 meters, has been grounded since crashing into the Francis Scott Key Bridge in March. The weight of the remainders of the bridge that was on the bow caused the vessel to be pushed down and ground. It's taken 2 months for the Unified Command to remove the remnants of the bridge from the river in order to reopen the shipping lanes. That was the main priority. The second priority was to remove the vessel. Now, the ship Dali has returned to the port of Baltimore, as you can see in the video footage, where the investigation will continue. Now, the NTSB recently released a preliminary report into the cause of the grounding, which effectively said that unexpected electrical failure caused the ship to lose power and black out. Reports of the ship blacking out in port seem to have been because of human error on board by the crew when the ventilation was accidentally closed to one of the generators, I believe. So they closed ventilation to the generator stopped operating, and then they got the generator running again. And the report has not given a reason why the vessel blacked out just before the crash into the bridge, and their investigation continues. We'll bring you more when we have it. We'll move on to our next story now. Now, Mark Zuckerberg's new fleet of super yachts and tenders are sailing around in Panama with the AIS switched off against IMO laws and generally good seamanship. Now, the yachts have been in Bocas del Toro, as we mentioned last week in a video, and they moved from there to another place in Panama called Colon. Now, this happens to be right next to the entrance to the Atlantic side of the Panama Canal, where many vessels sit and wait, because it's like a bottleneck on either side. They have to wait to get their slot to go through the canal. Now, as Launchpad and Wingman, the support vessel, came into this area, as you can see by the AIS footage here, they were forced to switch on the AIS. I mean, the fact that they switch on the AIS within seconds of each other or minutes of each other seems to show that it is deliberate and not because of any dangers that might be alleged by captains if they were questioned about it. You see, we get this question a lot in the comments when we talk about AIS being switched off. The IMO rules state that the AIS should always be in operation when vessels are underway or at anchor. If the master believes the continual operation of AIS may compromise the safety or security of the vessel, or where security incidents are imminent, the AIS may be switched off. Then it goes on to state that the master should report this action to the flag state and the reasons for doing so, and to a competent authority, and should also record it in the vessel's official logbook. Anyway, the yachts were heading to Colon, as we mentioned, which is the waiting area for the Panama Canal, as I just mentioned. It's very densely populated, as you can see in the AIS information here. So they're weaving in and out of all of these different vessels. So on the morning of the 13th of May, both vessels turned on the AIS, knowing that it's a requirement to do so in this area. It's a requirement everywhere in Panama, by the way, which we'll get onto in a minute. But there would be an increased danger of collision in this area without the AIS in operation. So if we look at the data here, 13th of May, 0746 hours UTC, AIS switches on the support vessel Wingman. 13th of May, 0747 UTC, AIS switches on board Launchpad yacht heading to the same location. So they arrive in the location. It looks like they dropped anchor and they're hanging out there for whatever. Now, the next day, the following day, Launchpad leaves before the support vessel. 14th of May, 0146 UTC, Launchpad leaves Colon area and heads east again, back to Bocas del Toro, and switches off AIS as they leave that area. And then at 0241, roughly an hour later, the support vessel Wingman, also heading in the same direction, almost the same spot on the map, switches off the AIS once again. We looked up to make sure there was no rules, because there's some rules can say that AIS doesn't need to operate in certain areas. This is from the Panama Ship Registry, and it states that for the purposes of vessels operating in jurisdictional waters of the Republic of Panama, the AIS will apply to any vessel of foreign flag, irrespective of his size and type, etc., etc. So it definitely states there that any vessel, regardless of its type, if it's foreign flagged, it will have to display or transmit the AIS. Now, both vessels have returned to Bocas del Toro. We even had some photographs sent in to us from oceanposse.com. They were in the area in a boat. They show photographs of Wingman and Launchpad being there, and they also show a shot of the AIS screen proving that the AIS is switched off. So let us know what you think. We saw a few comments about Zuckerberg saying it's ironic that he cares so much about his own location that he's willing to switch off AIS when he's made his money from tracking people all over the world, it is irony, but that is effectively what Facebook has always been. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. You get no points for guessing where I am. It is that time of the year again. It is, well, almost that time of the year again. It is the week before the Monaco Grand Prix. If you haven't already done so, remember to check out our brand new video from Monaco. It's filmed at the weekend. The video is the yearly F1 edition of eSysman SuperYachts. Here we'll show you how they set up, how they transform Monaco into this racetrack. I mean, the whole principality is effectively becomes this racetrack. And of course, we'll show you the largest yachts in the marina at the same time. It's like a back and forth. And if you want to see more, join us on Patreon at patreon.com/eSysman. We've got a 15-minute behind the scenes / extras video from Monaco, expanding on that video that's live on YouTube, with more details that we edited out of the original video and a lot of behind the scenes extras and stuff like that. If you've got any information for us, you can contact us in the normal fashion. You can get us in the email address in the ticker. You can get us on the about page of the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger, on Twitter, and on Threema. Be sure to like this video, very important for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for future notifications. and look out for more videos from Monaco and the F1 coming this week. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.
And it covers almost the entire city. I mean, it's just the principality, should I say. It's obviously, it's only very small anyway. It's like 0.86 square miles or something like that. So, but yeah, I'm just outside the pit lanes now. This is where the cars will come in the race, and I'll drive in and go to the pit lanes. It's quite incredible.